You talk about a revolution, most people think violence, without realizing that the real content of any kind of revolutionary thrust lies in the principles and the goal that you're striving for, not in the way you reach them.
Just true. Let it ride. We want freedom, not comes from the throne. Want power in our hands, want to govern our own. They took land, took lives, left us hunger and bone.
Stamped, signed, sealed, and approved by the FDA are allowed to put the mRNA in food. They've already been doing it with shrimp and pork and a bunch of other meats. Tyson, they've been investing heavily in lab-grown meat, and so now it's coming out. It's supposed to be an investigation that Sprouts, some of these other stores are selling organic chicken, but it's chicken that they've acknowledged they're buying from Tyson. So, I mean, between that, there's like another, I don't know how many million, 11 million eggs being recalled from Texas. I mean, all of these different things, whether they're true or not, are dropping at the same point in time, which for me, again, as I said, it doesn't matter to me whether it's true or not in regards to, insofar as what it is, I still have to respond to the shit. I still, whether it's bullshit or not, the reality of it is there are things going on with the food supply chains and all of that shit. I forget the stores. I want to say Kroger and somebody else, but now they're being investigated because they're starting to roll out those digital price tags that when you walk up on them, communicates with your phone, sees what you paid online for this item in the past, or what your income is, your credit rate, all that shit, and changes the price according to that information that it reads off of your phone. So yeah, those little shits, the actual food supply chain, all of those things are seeming to be continuing to come to a head at a particular point in time. So yeah.
But to me, when you talk about that, I see that as just a byproduct of an expanding population. Because if you keep having more and more people on this planet, what is it? We need more things mass produced.
I don't know what that has to do with them injecting mRNA. That is other species DNA into your food that you consume, and they know that it's able to traverse the stomach lining, so it's going into your DNA and fucking that shit up.
What are the reasons? I don't know a whole lot about that aspect of it. I'm just talking about the fact that the larger the population and the more you have to mass produce, the more chemicals and shit that they gonna do to create longer shelf lives on everything. But I don't know about that specific thing.
That's of it. They're adding shit to it. Obviously, not even because of greater population. Keep the same population. You still want to control the population. You still want to be able to maximize your monetization of the food. You still want to be able to inject, because a lot of things that they are putting in, they were practicing this in Africa until 2 or 3 places got hip to it and kicked them out. But I know y'all have heard about the chemicals that they were putting in some of the stuff in Africa, playing around with it. The test scenario was sterilizing sisters and brothers over there that they were watching. So they're doing the same shit here, and whether there's more population or not, they're doing more and more to affect and essentially bring down the overall population.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's part of social engineering. If you got a population that's growing and growing and growing, and as a result, a natural result of the population growing is that it's going to deplete resources on the planet. So you got to do shit to the food that creates more cancers, more issues, and that's going to deplete the population.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's there, but now it's coming out. The enemy doesn't reveal its tactics and shit until it's ready to do that final death blow. You don't telegraph your shit decades ahead of time. It's not until you start to strike that you show your hand. It's an inevitability. You have to show your hand. But behind that, and the fact you remember, your boy Elon with the Doge crew, he was cutting FDA folks. He was cutting Farm Bureau folks. So the people that are supposed to be overseeing this shit, supposedly, even if they weren't, whatever, but the folks that were supposed to be overseeing a bunch of this shit just ain't there no more. No more funding. He's talking about getting rid of food stamps completely because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. So they're pulling back more and more. And like I said, they're showing that in the fact that Trump is not good at hiding shit at all. So like I said, this is whether everything's 100% true or not, there's truth in there. And one of those primary truths is that all of this shit is starting to get laid out on social media, on the news, on wherever. It's actually a topic of conversation. Whereas 20 years ago, when we were doing our thing back in the day, we had to try to convince motherfuckers and dig and find and shit. Now we just pull up a few posts and like, look, start here. This is the information. Google that shit and have a conversation because it's all out there.
That's why you prefer people like Georgia Guidestones back in the day.
Yeah. And the fact that Bill Gates has talked about openly about population control. He's had interviews where he's talked about it, and motherfuckers, I saw a post, and it seems just like such basic, you don't allow somebody who's interested in population control to control your food source. You don't do it. It doesn't make sense unless you just want to die. So, yeah.
But see, on the flip side, I gave a PE class talking about this, and it was really more or less targeting not so much just black people, but just all people in terms of fighting oppression. And I said, you got to look at this from two different angles. One, if you had the optimum world to where there wasn't much oppression and humanity was allowed to be free to do whatever it wants to do, I say, what is the end result of that? What is the end result when we're allowed to just overpopulate ourselves because of no wars? I say, I want you to think about it. If you truly want peace on the planet, how do you have that? How do you let humanity just run rampant and it not still lead to the same result of us destroying the planet?
I can tell you exactly how. What's that guy's name? Agent Smith. When he was talking to Morpheus, and Morpheus was all doped up and shit, and he was in that office, and he took a little earpiece out, talking about, I hate this place, blah, blah, blah. He said, every organism on the earth innately, naturally finds an equilibrium. Traditionally, how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of years have we been here? No population overload. No so-called scarcity. With scarcity is manufactured. That's bullshit. There's more than enough land. Farmers are paid to kill their crops. Farmers are paid not to produce. So they create scarcity so that they can then profit off of that shit. There is no scarcity. That's some bullshit that they play.
Oh, no, I don't agree with you on that. I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with you on that. Because as population grows, we build more housing. As we build more housing, we cut down more forests. We cut down more trees. We take up more land. And the difference between now and thousands of years ago, is the fact that humans used to be hunter-gatherers, and we did not have we didn't have industry. There's industry now. So you didn't have the ability to feed millions of people and to create crops and mass manufacture and produce. That led to a population that led to a real spike in the population.
What led to it is the consumption of humanity with European culture, which is based on the greed of ego. Again, I'll refer you to hundreds of thousands of years. We didn't have population issues. We were feeding people. There were natural things like disasters and diseases and all of those things, which are a part of nature's way of keeping populations in control, in check. Now you have all of these diseases to prolong or medicines to prolong lives and doing these things to avoid that ookie pookie people are going to die type of bullshit. So that, yes, there are areas that are out of control with population. There are areas that don't have food. But again, that's because the food is controlled and a scarcity. What's his name? Your boy that we went to in Venus, Florida. That night you gave me that hug. Yeah. Like, oh, thank you, Brother E. That dude used to talk all the time about scarcity. But there is more than enough farmland. Just go up to Wyoming. Don't nobody live in Wyoming. It's all land. There is plenty of land around the world, but it's not used. It's not the economics of it is to create a profit margin, not to feed the masses of the people, or whether that masses is 20 billion or if that masses is 5 million. The food that's there, if you had 5 million people, plenty of food and whatnot, you would never know it. Because those Bill Gates and others who control the food stores and the economics create a scenario where it looks like, it feels like, we're told on the news, there's scarcity. Folks are going hungry, but you paying the farmers to toss food in the trash. All of this shit is pretend.
I think we're looking at it from two different angles. I'm not seeing the food scarcity. I get that you're talking about how they destroy things in order to keep the supply and demand thing going, which again goes back to consumerism. But I'm just simply talking about as the world population increases, what we do to the planet naturally is going to have a greater effect on the planet because of the way humans operate. Yeah, all of it back to Europeans and industrialization, like you're saying, but you got to realize that with the higher levels of population comes the destruction of the earth. Period.
If we are a natural part of the earth ain't
that's just it. That's where we have to stop right there. We're not talking about natural no more because
I'm not talking.
Technology is rampant. It's rampant.
You comparing the natural state of being versus what Europeans have done. Yes, everything you said, I agree with 100%. I'm talking about life. If we're in there, because you said if the population was just allowed to grow. I'm talking about if you have the earth and you have a population and you allow it to grow, the earth is not going to commit suicide.
Oh, I
it's
get
going to have a way to check and balance
do you think we're going to go backwards? So do you think we're going to go backwards?
We're not going to have a choice. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that's why I've been saying for 30 years, we're not finna pop off. We're not about to be the spear of this shit. We're not. They're going to burn themselves out. They're going to take a whole bunch of populations with them. But between nuclear, did you hear about OpenAI? I believe it was OpenAI. They were doing a security test, and they told OpenAI and some other shit, here's a scenario. Here's a question. Do whatever you got to do to figure out the answer and how to deal with this shit. They had it in a sandbox, so it wouldn't affect everything else. Mm-hmm. They released or removed the security around that sandbox, okay? Because they wanted to test its hacking skills. They wanted to test its ability to find shit. When they did that, this motherfucker left the sandbox, left the system, went over to another whole fucking company and hacked into their systems to get the information it needed. Went over to another company, hacked into their systems, looking for the information. So this AI went out and infiltrated this other shit on its own to achieve its goal. So between AI and now China's actively got operating systems for the humanoid robots, like the ones that they're putting out there to come to your home and clean up. It's got basically an Android operating system, 2 or 3 different kinds, blah blah blah. And just wait till that shit decides to go rogue. So between AI and robotics, I'm including all of that together, quantum, all of that shit, and nuclear war, and just the internal collapse of the infrastructure, not just in the U.S. Russia's feeling it, Spain's feeling it, all of Europe is feeling it, everybody's feeling it. Between those things, the food, all of that shit right there, yes, they're about to burn this shit out. That's why they're in a hurry to try to get off this shit, go to Mars, go to somewhere, terraform that shit so we got somewhere to go, because they're trashing this one And they know that the eventuality of trashing the shit is that it's no longer going to be inhabitable. Yes, it's going to be, they keep talking about the reset, the great reset. Yeah, it's a great reset, but not the one that they want people to think about or talk about. All of this shit is burning itself out. So at some point, this shit is going to collapse and go the other direction, and we won't have a choice. Ain't gonna be no Walmart shit. You're gonna have to do something else about food. Ain't gonna be no cops to come and save you, blah, blah, blah. You're gonna have to deal with reality on your own. So yes, absolutely, 100%. That's why I do what I do, because I see that as the direction this world is going. You know, if I were able to rear up little children right now, this is the shit that I would be teaching them. Alongside the African-centered mind, I would be teaching them do for self, build for self, be self-sufficient, because this shit is about to collapse. So yeah, absolutely. To your question, 100%, 100%.